Kenma plays volleyball like a poker player. He reads people, he baits teams into traps, and he runs two poker plays most people will never notice. In poker, there's a term called a tell, which is a small habit that gives away information that a person can exploit. In volleyball, a massive tell is where the setter's looking at because that is usually where they're gonna set. Tsukishima knows this and makes a read. He notices Kenma glancing to the right, so what he does is he starts moving to the right in order to block. This is an example of a level 2 read in poker, which basically asks, what is my opponent going to do? Kenma is a level above and makes a level 3 read, which basically asks the question, what does my opponent think I'm going to do? Kenma notices that Tsukishima is watching his tell, so he glances to the right, knowing Tsukishima will think he's going to set to the right, and then at the last minute, he sets to the left. Now, a level 3 read only makes sense if the person is deliberately thinking about you or is doing a level 2 read. If the hitter's only watching the ball and not watching where you're glancing, it doesn't make sense to fake a glance because it just doesn't provide any benefit. In poker, a person that never folds cannot be bluffed, so this is the same principle. Speaking of bluffing, the second term is called balancing your bluffs. In poker, if you only bet anytime you have strong cards, anytime you bet, your opponent will actually fold, which means you're gonna lose out on a lot of money. Occasionally, bluffing fixes this because now the opponent never knows whether you have a garbage hand or a strong hand. In volleyball, a good setter occasionally dumps because if you never attack, a blocker can just fully commit to one hitter, making their lives really difficult. But by dumping, every second ball, the opposing hitter now has to ask the question, is the person going to dump or are they going to set? And that slight moment of hesitation is all Kenma needs to give his hitters an edge. The next concept is called inducing, which basically means making a play designed to make your opponents act in a certain way. In poker, this could be something as simple as betting small to make your opponents think you have a really weak hand, which would lead them to raise, when in reality, you actually have a really strong hand. In Haikyuu, during Nekoma's match against Karasuno, Kenma purposely makes Kageyama not set to Hanada by either blocking off his run-up approach or by making him get the first receive. It's important to note that inducing is also a form of exploitative play, which is basically punishing your opponent based on a specific flaw. This is used against their match against Sarukawa, where their players know Kenma doesn't have a high degree of stamina, so they spend the majority of the first match making him chase the ball, exploiting the fact that he's gonna get tired really easily. Against a normal team, this would work, but Kenma actually recognizes this and counter exploits, which means taking advantage of the attempted exploit. Knowing that they're trying to run out his stamina, he has his team sometimes purposely do bad receives. In volleyball, a bad receive means the setter will set to whoever is closest or a high ball to your ace. Sarukawa, thinking that they're playing really sloppy, thinks that they're able to ease up and commit to whatever hitter is closest to Kenma during a bad receive. But Kenma exploits the exploit, sending the ball to the opposite side where there are no blockers, which gets them a lot of points. This is why Kenma is dangerous. He plays like a poker player that deceives and manufactures situations to his liking. If you like this video, you'll probably like my other video where I talked about how in Oikawa's POV, Kageyama is the villain. And if you want more anime breakdowns, give me a sub and let me know how I did for my 5th video.